So more and more is starting to slowly develop on this Morgan Gibbs-White and his departure from Forest to Spurs. Is it going to happen or not? Welcome to your Forest News. Afternoon, everybody. Hope you're doing well, and welcome to your latest Forest transfer news. Coming up, I'm going to tell you about the latest with Morgan Gibbs-White, what the expectations are with this transfer to Tottenham. I'll tell you about probably a couple more rejections incoming. I don't want to get your hopes up. Enjoying the content? Please don't forget to hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed as well if you're new to Forest Fan TV. And let's start this video off talking about a certain snake in Morgan Gibbs-White. So, look, there's been a lot said, and a lot of people are siding with Tottenham on this. It just baffles me to hear some of the rhetoric going on. Yeah, but he's got a release clause. So, what was the point in the release clause if it's a confidential release clause? How does that work? Yeah, but Forest wants 60 million then if they've got that release clause. So, like, Spurs offered that. Does it matter if it's been leaked? So what? You're getting your money, aren't you? And listen, before I get into all of that, the expectation is that most likely Forest will be able to delay this, but they won't be able to stop it. It doesn't seem like Spurs are going to back off the way Chelsea did with Elise last summer. It looks like it's going to go through. And to be honest, as long as he leaves Forest, I don't really care where he goes. Ideally, I'd like it not to be Spurs, but as long as he's gone, screw him, is what I say. So, the whole release clause thing, it's up to Marinakis how far he wants to take it. He can take it legally, he can probably threaten Levy, who looks like an absolute wuss anyway, and would be scared of Marinakis, but the likelihood is it will go through. But people need to start understanding why this is important when it's under an NDA or a confidentiality agreement. Let me give you an example. Let's just say I'm an agent, right? And I represent, let's call this footballer Ben or something, right? And Ben Jones is well sought after, but no one's put a bid in for him. Now, I'm his agent, and I suddenly get a call from Arsenal or whatever. And then what do? I then go and call my mate and say to him, listen, there's been no talks about Ben going to another club this season. Go put a bet on him joining Arsenal. Go do that. You're going to make a crap load of money and we'll share the money. Yeah, or a case of, let's just say let's say I'm mates with, who's a manager in the Premier League that I can stand? Let's say I'm mates with Oliver Glasner, right? Having dinner with him one night, and I'm like, yo, so how's life going at Crystal Palace? And he's like, well, you know what? Tomorrow I'm getting sacked. He's like, you know what you should do? Go put a bet on me being sacked. There's no talks about it, but I just had this big fallout with Parish because, you know, he said that he was going to email me. Then he said he forgot to check his emails. Then he said his notifications weren't on his emails. And that's the whole thing. And he's going to sack me. Go put a bet on it. That would put me in prison. That would put poor old Oliver Glasner in prison, right? This is the whole point of it. Because this no disclosure stuff is being shared, it means that information that isn't privy to the public eye or to other third parties can't be shared, right? And this is the point. Forest are potentially losing out on millions of pounds because if Spurs had come in with 70 million, that would mean Forest would have had to accept it. That's the point of this release clause, because it's over what the minimum release clause is. There's nothing in there, I would assume, that says if someone comes in with 70 million, you then must disclose to them that the release clause is 60 million so they can reduce their bid by 10 million. Hence why you saw Manchester City talking about fees of about 75 million. So this is why it's so important to Forest that potentially they could lose 10 million. Now, if I was to speculate here, and this is just speculation, there could be, I think this is what Forest are thinking, has Gibbs-White or his agent, or both, turned to Spurs and been like, listen, you were going to bid 70 million, right? Bid 60 million. Yeah. And I guarantee you it will get accepted. And for this information, why don't you give my client an extra 10 grand a week? Because you're saving about 10 mil. You know, so this is, I think, the thought process. Obviously, again, I'm just making that stuff up, but these are things that could be the thought process that's going on in the whole Forest world about why they're feeling such an injustice. And it just doesn't seem to compute with people. That's the issue with it. Now, the other thing is, I said this on Patreon, I can't remember if I shared it with you guys, but here you go. I'm hearing as well that clause was open until the 14th of July. And it opened up around the 1st of July. So there's this 2-week period where this came into effect. And this might be something else that's getting Forest like, how did suddenly Spurs put a bid in between those 2-week, that 2-week period? And that's why the agent was so like, you know, let me call this club, let me call that club, let me call the other club. So there's kind of bits and bobs that could fit together in this whole story. And if that's the case, 14th of July is tomorrow. Does this whole thing, if Forest looking to take it up past the 14th of July and be like, well, sorry, Spurs, the sunset on the clause is gone. We want 75. So I don't know. Look, we're going to have to see this play out. The general feeling and the general consensus on all of this is that Gibbs-White is probably going to end up at Spurs. And you know what? It's a club full of snakes. So he'll fit right in. Apart from Jono, I still soft spot for Jono. The rest of them, all snakes. All snakes. The players, the staff, the owner, the way they've set up their ownership. Maybe Beyonce's alright. She seems to be a regular thing there, doesn't she? Because that's all they do, their concerts. So that's the latest on the Gibbs-White stuff. Now, in terms of Forest pursuit for other players, let's not start with Vissa. We'll do them together, right? Bakayoko, McAtee, and Harvey Elliott, right? McAtee apparently is in Frankfurt having a stadium tour to see if there's some kind of feasibility. On Harvey Elliott, I don't know how true this is. There are reports, some of you have put them in the comments as well. I've seen a couple of reports saying he doesn't want to join Forest for the style of play. And Bakayoko is probably going to, was it Leverkusen or Dortmund? I can't remember which one, but that's pretty much getting over the line. This is turning into an extremely, extremely frustrating summer. It really is. You've lost a Langer, you're about to lose a Snake, and people are finding excuses not to join you. I'm starting to get worried. I can't lie. We've got, 13th of July? We've got about a month until we play Brentford. I'm not gonna lie to you, the performance I saw yesterday was so boring. I start to wonder, is that our strongest squad? You know, yeah, Milenkovic wasn't in, and Wood and Igor Jesus and what have you, but still, you look at it and think to yourself, that might be our squad from the start of the season, and then what? And then what? But there have been reports coming out from Yates saying, trust the process, trust the process. So if Yates says it, maybe we should. I don't know. But look, I'm getting worried. I want to know how worried you guys are getting over everything. Are we running out of time here? Are we running out of time to replace those players and fill those positions Forest were expecting? Or are Forest going to have to go from their A-list shopping list to their B-list shopping list? We're probably getting closer to, you know, C, D, E, and F at the moment. And that's not a good place to be. Sorry to probably depress you all, but that's the updates. Get your thoughts in. Make sure you've liked. Make sure you've subscribed. Probably see you later on this evening. Come on, you Reds.